Hello children, today we will start new chapter in history, social science, chapter number 8, vital villages and thriving towns. Yes, when you visit village area, in village area so you saw different occupation or different activities done by people. For example, farming, weaving baskets, potters, blacksmith, mason, etc. So here in our textbook they give you one example of Prabhakar. Prabhakar is a small boy. Prabhakar at the blacksmith shop. Yes, he is wonder how the blacksmith will make different kinds of tools from the iron. So here Prabhakar sat watching the smith at the local shop. There was a small bench on which iron tools like axes and sickles were laid out, which is ready for sale. A bright fire was burning and two men were heating and beating metal rods into shape. It was a very hot and noisy, and yet it was fascinating to watch what was happening here. So this is a small story which tells you a lot of things about how blacksmith will make different tools and weapons. So here our first topic is iron tools and agriculture. In agriculture, which kind of tools we used here? We often take the use of iron for granted today. Things made of iron and steel are a part of our daily lives. Here the use of iron being in the subcontinent around 3000 years ago. Yes, around 3000 years ago we started to using iron tools. Some of the largest collection of iron tools and weapons were found in the megalithic burial site. Yes, first time we find here through the burial site we get various weapons and tools. Generally, as you know that in previous time people are using different tools and weapons for hunting, for cooking animal, for cutting and crushing things. For example, mortars, knife, arrow, sickle, axe, etc. So some of the largest collection of iron tools and weapons were found from the megalithic burial sites, about which you already studied in chapter number 4. Around 2500 years ago, there is evidences for the growing use of iron tools. This includes the axes for clearing forest area and the iron plowshare. Means first time people are using wooden plowshare and after that they are using, for the durability purpose they are using iron plowshare. As he had seen, the plowshare was useful for increasing agricultural production, and in this way new and new weapons and tools he developed according to the time. Now other steps to increase production in irrigation. What is mean by irrigation? Irrigation means supplying water to the plant. The kings and kingdoms you have been reading about could not have existed without the support of flourishing villages. While new tools and the system of transplanting increased production, irrigation was also used. Irrigation works that were built during this time includes canals. Nowadays we build canals, wells, tank means a water tank, and the artificial pond or lakes. Yes, but in ancient time people are depending on rain. Okay, so here if you look at the chart already given in your textbook, you will find that some of the stages in the construction of irrigation works are mentioned here. So point by point I discussed with you. First point, kings need money for armies and palaces, to build palaces and forts. So second point, they need taxes from the farmers. Yes, they fix the tax and they collect from the farmers. For example, from the farmers, king and queen collect 1/6 part of their produce. Third point, farmers have to increase production to pay taxes. Yes, definitely farmers, they increase their production. They get the more benefit as well as to pay taxes. Fourth, this is possible with irrigation. If they get a sufficient water, it is possible with the irrigation work. They grow more and more plant. Our fifth point is kings provide money and plant irrigation work. They provide the different tools, weapons, water facilities. Sixth point, labor is provided by the people. Sometimes they hire some laborers to grow more and more crops. 7. Production slowly and gradually increase. 8th point, so does revenue increased. Revenue means a kind of taxes. And last point, farmers also benefits because crop production is more certain. And in this way, people are doing farming activity and they paid taxes to king and queens. Now, who lived in the village area? Villages. There were at least 3 kinds of people living in most villages in the southern and northern parts of the subcontinent. One by one we are discussing about, as you know that you saw various occupation in village area, for example farmers, weavers, potters, blacksmith. So here first of all we discuss about in Tamil region, means in a southern part of India, the large landowner, they were known as the Vellalar. They are known as, we are talking about large landowners. So they are known as a Vellalar. And if we talk about ordinary plowman, means ordinary farmer, who is called as a Uzavar. Here Uzavar is the word used in a Tamil language. Then we are talking about landless labor. Landless labor include slave people also. They are called as a Kadai Siyar and Adimai in Tamil language. So these are some words which are very difficult to us because they are using Tamil language. If we talk about in a northern part of India, northern part of our country, the villages, the headmen. The headman means a large landowner. They are called as a Grama Bhojaka. In northern part we are known as this, the headman of the village, they are called as a Grama Bhojaka. Usually, men from the same family held the position for generation, means a hereditary they get the position. In other words, the position was hereditary. The Gram Bhojaka was often the largest landowner. So here in Tamil we are using Vellalar, and in northern part we are talking about northern part of India, here they called Grama Bhojaka. Generally he had slave and hires some worker to cultivate different kinds of crops, cultivate the land. Beside, as he was a powerful, the king often used him to collect tax from the village. He also functioned as a judge in the villages area and sometimes as a policeman also. Because if we talk about past time, at that time you saw the mantris, means some ministers who are getting the post of big landowner, they are getting the post of Grama Bhojaka, and they have a power, supreme power like a judge. Apart from the Grama Bhojaka, there were other independent farmers also. They are known as Grihapatis. Grihapatis here in South India they are using Uzavar word, but in northern part they are using Grihapatis, most of whom were smaller landowners, and then there were man and women such as the Dasa and Kamakaras. Here the third part, landless labor or a slave. So in northern part they are called as the Dasa and Kamakaras, who did not own their own land, but they had to earn a living working on the field owned by others. In most villages, there were also some craft persons such as blacksmith, potters, carpenters and weaver also. Yes, generally in village area maximum people they are doing farming business and other people they are doing this kind of business. So here in extra portion they give you the Tamil composition, the earlier Tamil composition, some of the earliest work in Tamil known as Sangam literature. Tamil literature means written work which is known as a Sangam literature, were composed around 2300 years ago. These texts were called as a Sangam because they were supposed to have been composed and compiled in assemblies known as Sangam of poems that were held in the city of Madurai. In our textbook they shown you the Madurai city in map. The Tamil term mentioned above are found in Sangam literature, and that's why Sangam literature is very well known, very famous in southern part, which we find many evidences, many written work from the Sangam literature. Through this we come to know about the earlier period. Finding out about cities, stories, travelers, sculpture and archaeology. You may have heard of the Jatakas. Jatakas were the story that were probably composed by the ordinary people and then write down and present by the Buddhist monk. Here is a part of Jataka story which tell us how a poor man gradually become a rich. Means they are doing different kinds of business, for example hotel business, then cleaning the area, grass cutter, trader, and in the different way he earned. Jatakas means ordinary people. First of all he is a very poor person, but after that with his knowledge he learned lot of things. He is doing different activities and through this he earned lot of money. So here the clever poor man, which story indicate you about this Jatakas, means this kind of people. Now in our textbook they give you ring well found in Delhi. So this ring well is a kind of drainage system from the Harappan civilization. So this is a different kind of drainage system. Already we studied about drainage system in last part, but this is a different type of drainage system. It is called as a ring well. So in detail we study here about this ring well drainage system. We can use other kind of evidences to find out about the life in some of these earliest cities. Sculptures, carved scenes depict and people lives in town and villages as well as in the forest. Many of these sculptures were used to decorate railings, pillars, gateways of buildings that were visited by people. Yes, in ancient time we find a lot of things. Many of the cities that developed from about 2500 years ago were capital of the Mahajanpadas that you learned about in chapter number 5. Already you know that totally 16 Mahajanpadas were there. For example, Avanti, Magadha, Vajjisang. As we had seen, some of these cities were surrounded by massive fortification of wall for the protection from the enemy. They built a huge wall, huge structure of wall. In many cities, archaeologists have found rows of pots or ceramic ring arranging one on top of the others. These are known as ring well. This is a different feature of this time. This seems to have been used as a toilet in some cases and as a drainage and a garbage dumping area is there. This ring well are usually found in individual houses. We have hardly any remains of palaces, marketplace or of homes of ordinary people here. Perhaps some are yet to be discovered by archaeologists. Other made of wood, mud bricks and thatch may not have survived here. Another way of finding out about earlier cities is from the account of sailors and travelers who visited them. Already we study about the pilgrims like Viking, Phaeacian. Through this we come to know about our country through their travelogue. One of the most detailed accounts that have been found was an unknown Greek sailor. He described all the ports he visited. So here they describe one of the port of India which is called as the Barigaza, the Greek name of Bharuch. Yes, Bharuch is an ancient port. The story of Barigaza. The another name of Bharuch port is a Barigaza port. So this traveler described about Bharuch. The gulf is very narrow at Barigaza and very hard to navigate from those coming from the sea route. Ships had to be steered in by skillful and experienced local fishermen who were employed by the king. The import into Barigaza were wine, copper, tin, lead, coral, topaz, cloth, gold and silver coins. Export from the town includes plants from the Himalayas, means herbs, then ivory, the teeth of elephants, agate, carnelian, cotton, fabrics, silk material and perfumes. Special gifts were bought by the merchant for the king. This includes vessels of silver, singing boys, beautiful women, fine wine and fine clothes too. So in this way we come to know about the port Barigaza, means a Bharuch. Here we saw some export-import work is done through this port. Excavation, we find different coins. For example, it is called as a punchmark coin. So here we discuss about punchmark coin. Punchmark coins are generally rectangular or sometimes square or round in shape, either cut out of metal sheet or made out of flattened, matted globules or a small spherical body. The coins were not inscribed but were stamped with the symbols using dies or punch, and that's why it is called as a punchmark coin. Symbols using dies or punch, here they are called as a punchmark coins. These coins are found over most part of the subcontinent and remains in a circulation till the early century, means a common era. We are talking about common era. We find many evidences of punchmark coin. You may have noticed how wealth is measured in terms of coins. In the story already which is given on page number 82, archaeologists have found several thousands of coins belongs to this period. The earlier coins which were in use of about 500 years were punchmark coins, such as one shown below in our textbook. Here other means of exchange. This is a poem which take from the Sangam collection, means a Sangam literature. After that we are discussing about the cities with many functions. Very often a single town was important for a various reason. Here they give you the different cities like Mathura has been important settlement for more than 2500 years. It was important because it was located as at the cross roads of two major routes of travel and trade. Many people, they are coming from travelling purpose or for the trade purpose, means a business purpose. From the northwest to the east and the north to south. There were fortifications around the city and several shrines. Farmers and herders from adjoining areas provided food for people in the city. Mathura was also a center where some extremely fine sculpture was produced. Around 2000 years ago, Mathura became the second capital of the Kushanas, about whom already you read in chapter number 9. Mathura was also a religious center. Here, many Buddhist monasteries, Jain shrines, and there was a important center for worshipping Krishna. Yes, already we worship Krishna, so that's why we also sometimes visit Mathura. Several inscriptions on surface such as stone, slabs and statues have been found from the Mathura city, and that's why it is a very important center in ancient time. Small tanks were being found that were probably, here we are discussing about generally these are short inscriptions recording gift made by a man to monasteries and shrines. These were made by kings, queens, officials, merchant and craft person who live in the city. For example, inscriptions from Mathura mention goldsmith, blacksmith, weaver, basket makers, garland maker, and sometimes people are making perfume also. Okay, after that here we study about different craft and craft person through the evidences. We also have archaeologists' evidences for craft. This includes the extremely fine potteries known as Northern Black Polish ware. It gets its name from the fact that it generally found in the northern part of the subcontinent. Remember that the archaeologists' evidences from many crafts may not have survived. Nowadays, you can't show this kind of potteries you find, but sometimes we find some evidences of this kind of potteries. We know from texts that the manufacture of cloth was imported. There was a famous center such as Varanasi in the northern and Madurai in the southern part. Both man and woman work in these centers. Yes, here we are talking about Varanasi and Madurai. Many craft persons and merchants now form association known as Shrenis. This Shrenis means the association of craft person provide training, procured raw material means they are provided raw material to the craft person and distribute the finished product throughout the country. Then shrines of merchant organize the trade. Shrenis also served as a bank where rich men and women deposit their money. Nowadays you also deposit money and withdraw money from the bank. Seem like this. This was invested, the part of the interest was written back and used to support religious institutions such as monasteries. Here they give you the extra information about Northern Black Polish ware, means a kind of pottery. It is a hard, wheel made, metallic looking ware with a shiny black surface. The potter used to expose the earthenware to very high temperature in his kiln, which result in a blackening of the outer surface. A fine black slip was also applied on this, which gave the pottery a mirror like shine. Yes, nowadays also we are using different pots, but if we talk about ancient pottery, it is called as a Northern Black Polish ware. So they also learn this technique. Here they give you the information about rules for spinning and weaving. At that time they follow some rules and regulation. Means many people from man and women, they both are engaged in doing different work like weaving clothes. Okay, so here they follow some rules and regulation. In our textbook they give you the extra information about it. After that, a closer look means a Arika Meadow. What is Arika Meadow? Arika Meadow, which is in Pondicherry, which is already shown on page number 105. and read the box on Rome on page number 88. Between 2200 years and 19 years ago, Arikamedu was a coastal settlement. Coastal, nearby the coastal settlement, where ships unloaded goods from distant land. A massive big brick structure was found, which may have been a warehouse, it's a storehouse, was found at this site. Other find includes pottery from the Mediterranean region, such as amphoria, it's a tall double-handed jar that contain liquids such as wine and oil, and stamped red glaze pottery known as a Aretine ware was also found here, which was named after a city of Italy. Means this is a major center for business. This was made by a pressing wet clay into a stamp mold. There was a yet another kind of pottery which was made locally. Through Roman design were used here. Roman lamp, glassware and gems have also been found from this site, means from the Arikamedu. This is a major center for the business. Here small tanks have been found that were probably dyeing wigs, used to dye cloth, means used to color it. There is a plenty of evidences for the making of beads and from the semi-precious stones and glass. So in this way, through this chapter, we study about the different occupation, we study about the coins, cities, ancient cities, we find the craft and craft person, we study about the different ports like Bharuch and Arikamedu. Arikamedu is a city where you generally saw the business activities done here. Then you saw ring well drainage system is here. So then we study about Tamil composition, means a Sangam literature. Through this we get a lot of knowledge about vital villages and thriving towns. So in this way we come to know about different occupation of ancient time. In elsewhere part we study about Rome city. This is one of the oldest city in Europe and developed around the same time as the cities in the Ganga valley. Rome was the capital of one of the largest empires, one that spread across Europe, Africa, means North Africa and West Africa. Augustus, one of the most important emperor who ruled about 2000 years ago, said that he found Rome a city of bricks and made up of marbles. He and later rulers built temples and palaces everywhere. They also built huge amphitheaters, open arenas and surrounded by tiers of seats, where citizens could watch all kinds of shows and public baths with a separate timing for men and women, where people met and relaxed. Here, huge aqueducts, channels to supply water were built to bring water to the city. For the bath and fountain and separate toilet were there. So this is the system of Rome during this time period. So in this chapter, we get lot of knowledge about different occupation in village area, Sangam literature, as well as we find different coins, we study about craft person, then we study about port like Barigaza, means a Bharuch, and a closer look to Arikamedu settlement. So I hope you understand this chapter. Thank you.